High in the hills near Islamabad, behind barbed wire and armed checkpoints, sits a facility that changed the balance of power in South Asia forever. This is Kahuta. And the man who built it didn't wear a general's uniform. He wore a lab coat. His name was Abdul Qadeer Khan. To many in Pakistan, he is the father of the nuclear bomb, the man who made his country the first Muslim-majority nation to join the nuclear club. To much of the rest of the world, he is something else entirely. The most dangerous nuclear smuggler in modern history. This is the story of how one metallurgist, armed with stolen blueprints and unshakable ambition, built a bomb, and then, some say, sold the recipe to the highest bidder. Hero, traitor, or something in between. By the end of this film, you'll have to decide for yourself. Abdul Qadeer Khan was born in 1936 in Bhopal, in British India, 7 years before the map of South Asia would be redrawn in blood. In 1947, as partition tore the subcontinent apart, the Khan family became part of one of the largest human migrations in history, crossing into the newly created state of Pakistan. He was 16 years old when his family made that journey. Historians believe what he witnessed during partition, the violence, the displacement, the raw vulnerability of a nation being born, planted something in him that never left. The conviction that Pakistan could never again be left defenseless. Khan studied metallurgical engineering, first in Karachi, then in West Berlin, and later in the Netherlands at the Delft University of Technology. Along the way, he earned a doctorate in metallurgical engineering from the Catholic University of Leuven in Belgium, credentials that would soon place him at the center of one of the most closely guarded industries on Earth, uranium enrichment. By every account, he was an unremarkable student with an exceptional memory, the kind of quiet, methodical mind that rarely draws attention. That would soon change. In the early 1970s, Khan landed a job that would alter history. He went to work for a subcontractor linked to Urenco, a European consortium in the Netherlands that held one of the world's most closely guarded secrets: the design for high-speed gas centrifuges, machines capable of enriching uranium to weapons grade. Khan had access, and Khan had motive. In May 1974, India detonated its first nuclear device, codenamed Smiling Buddha, just a few hundred miles from Pakistan's border. For Khan, and for Pakistan's leadership, it was a 5-alarm fire. The regional balance of power had shifted overnight. According to Dutch intelligence investigations, Khan began copying classified centrifuge blueprints, technical drawings so sensitive that a handful of nations had spent decades and billions of dollars developing them independently. In late 1975, he returned to Pakistan. He did not come back empty-handed. The Netherlands would later convict Khan in absentia for nuclear espionage. He always maintained the technology was necessary, not stolen, but reclaimed, for a nation he believed the world had left exposed. Pakistan's Prime Minister, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, had made the country's nuclear ambitions personal. He is remembered for a defiant vow that Pakistanis would eat grass if that's what it took to build the bomb. Khan gave him the blueprint to make good on that promise. In 1976, Khan was placed in charge of a uranium enrichment facility at Kahuta outside Islamabad, a project so secretive that for years its very existence was denied. It would later be renamed the Khan Research Laboratories in his honor. For over 2 decades, Khan's team worked largely outside international oversight, acquiring components and expertise through a global network of suppliers, some knowing, some not, spanning Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. By the 1980s, intelligence agencies believed Pakistan had crossed the threshold to a working nuclear weapons capability. The moment of truth came on May 28, 1998. In the Chagai Hills of Baluchistan, Pakistan detonated 5 nuclear devices in a single day, followed by a 6th days later, a direct answer to India's own tests just weeks earlier. Overnight, Abdul Qadeer Khan became a national hero. Streets were named after him. Songs were written for him. Children were told his story in school. For a nation that had felt perpetually vulnerable to its larger neighbor, Khan had delivered the ultimate deterrent. But the story doesn't end at Chagai. It's only beginning. Through the 1990s and into the 2000s, a very different picture was quietly taking shape in intelligence agencies around the world. Investigators piecing together fragments of evidence in Libya, Iran, and North Korea kept finding the same fingerprints. Centrifuge designs, technical documents, and components that all traced back to one source: the network built around Abdul Qadeer Khan. In 2003, the seizure of a German-flagged ship, the BBC China, bound for Libya, blew the lid off the entire operation. On board, centrifuge parts manufactured in Malaysia, part of a supply chain investigators say Khan had personally overseen. Libya's subsequent disclosures to the United States and United Kingdom confirmed what many had feared for years: a black market nuclear supply chain run for profit with Khan at its center. On February 4, 2004, Pakistanis watched something almost unthinkable. Their national hero appeared on state television and confessed. Khan admitted to running a proliferation network that had transferred nuclear technology to Iran, Libya, and North Korea. Within hours, Pakistan's President, General Pervez Musharraf, granted him a pardon, but placed him under strict house arrest, cutting him off from the outside world for years. To this day, one question divides historians and intelligence analysts alike. Did Khan act alone, driven by ego and greed? Or did elements of the Pakistani state know and look away? Khan himself would later claim, and then walk back, and then claim again, that his confession had been coerced. The truth remains locked behind classified files in more than one country. Abdul Qadeer Khan spent years under house arrest before Pakistani courts gradually restored his freedom, fully releasing him from restrictions in 2009. He never faced trial in Pakistan. He never spent a day in a Pakistani prison. For millions of ordinary Pakistanis, none of that mattered. He remained, until his final breath, a symbol of national survival. Khan died on October 10, 2021, from complications related to COVID-19. He was given a state funeral. Pakistan's flag flew at half-mast. Crowds gathered in the streets of Islamabad to mourn a man that Western intelligence agencies had once labeled one of the most dangerous individuals alive. That is the paradox of Abdul Qadeer Khan. In Washington, in Vienna, in the halls of the International Atomic Energy Agency, his name is a byword for nuclear proliferation at its most reckless. In Pakistan, his portrait hangs in classrooms beside the founders of the nation itself. Did he arm a nation against its greatest fear? Or did he put the world's deadliest technology into some of its most dangerous hands? Perhaps he was both. A man of undeniable brilliance, shaped by the trauma of a divided homeland, who never once expressed regret for what he built or for who he built it for. Where every conflict has a cause, every border has a cost, and every war leaves something behind. If this story moved you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. War and military history brings you the real stories behind history's greatest conflicts every single week.